Hello, everyone. So good to be with you this evening. Got something really special for you I want to share with you, and trying to pull everything together. I want you to please pause for just a couple of moments. You know the tradition. Sit down, pull you up a cup of coffee, whatever you might be drinking, and pause for a few moments. I think that's a big lesson in life, is to pause. I don't think we know how to do that, really. I think we get so tied up in life. We're doing so many things that we lose that pause. I remember looking at Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and such a special show. But what he had this blinking yellow light, and what that meant was come in for a few moments and pause. Slow down for a couple of moments. And I feel like that's one of the most important things that you can do, is to just stop. I don't know about you, but I'm pulled in 500 different directions. And occasionally, for me to really pull myself together, I've got to just be still. Just need to be still for a few minutes. But I'm glad you joined me. I've got something I want to talk to you about: success. Now, the name of my podcast is A Successful Life. And I think that, to me, that is such an important thing, because we live our life through. How many people live their life through and they feel like, I'm not successful. I blew it. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. But the thing is I think if you took 10 different people, 15 different people, and lined them up and said, what is success? Every single one of them would have a different idea about what success is. And so I think that's very elusive. I think it's very liquid, because most of the time we realize that success doesn't mean what we thought it did. And the reason I know that is because so many people have reached the pinnacle of their success, and only to get there and find how unfulfilled they were, how dissatisfied they were. I heard one man talking about one time, said, I spent my entire lifetime climbing the ladder of success, only to realize that when I got there, I got to the top, my ladder was leaning against the wrong building. I thought, my goodness, you talk about something that's telling. Spend your entire lifetime climbing the ladder of success and just realize I've got my ladder against the wrong building. But the fact is we start out thinking it's one thing and we're mistaken. And so I want to talk to you for just a couple of moments about success, because your life can be successful. You're going to find that success is a journey. It is not a destination. Success isn't, and I'm not saying that there's not a sense of a successful feeling when you get to a place, you look around and say, I accomplished this or I accomplished that. That's great. I think that's wonderful. But the success I'm talking about is a layer deeper than that. It's in the journey, not in the destination. I think so many times we think only when and the goalpost keeps moving. Somebody keeps moving the goalpost, and we never know when we arrive. At first you're thinking, dear God, if I can make $15 an hour, do you remember that? Or if I could I remember if we made $5 an hour, I thought, my God, you could live on that for the rest of your life. Well, at one time, $5 an hour was a lot of money. But then it was $10 an hour, and then it was $15 an hour, and then it's $25 an hour, and things keep changing, and so does the need, so does the things that we're doing. So it's almost like you can't say, when I reach a certain point, I'm going to be successful. You have to understand that who I am. See, it's not what you do that really measures success. It's who you are. Who I am is successful. I'm at peace. I'm complete in myself. I've got nothing pulling at me. I'm taking care of my responsibilities. I'm diligent with what I have. Am I struggling in the midst of it? Maybe. Maybe the fact is you're really working hard, and it just seems like, dear God, am I ever going to get past this point? But the fact that you're confronting that is a success. That makes you a success. The fact that you're engaged makes you a success. You're living a successful life right now and didn't even realize you were doing it. Dear God, you got children that you're putting in school. You've got jobs that you're working through, sicknesses, and you're conquering it. There's a genuine understanding that the fact that I'm engaged in the process and being responsible with what I have, that is a successful life. It doesn't mean I don't have problems, but it means that my life is in balance. When problems come up, I deal with them. I'm living a successful life. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my church. I'm thankful for my community. I'm thankful for my job, the privileges that I have. I'm thankful for that. And to actually be able to live in that environment brings an understanding of success, and success begets success. That successful attitude becomes a launching pad that launches you into greater opportunities, greater provision, greater doors open. See, but we've got to understand, we've got to be successful with the small doors. And that starts with an attitude of thankfulness, of legitimately looking around. I know that all of you that are listening to me right now, you might be saying, well, if only I had something like so-and-so had, then I'd be successful. But I've done enough travel in the world down through Central and South America, Europe. I've been around areas that did not have what you have. I remember one trip that I made down into Honduras, and there were people literally that were living in boxes, practically. I mean, it was, and they looked at us. I mean, they looked at me to say, my God, he's a rich American. And I'm looking and thinking, you're calling me rich? But to them, I was. So it's all relative. You may think I don't have anything. And certainly by any standards, if you had $1 million, there are people that would legitimately think you were broke. But then again, what you're living in right now, there are people in this world that would give anything to have what you have. So it isn't a matter that it's a destination. It's a matter of you embracing what you have and embracing who you are and walking that out. That is where true success is found. It's so important. I jotted down a couple of things. Let me see here. I talked about some things. If I've shared this with you before, just hold tight. Let me share it with you one more time. Some things that success is not. And sometimes we need to dismantle the thing to realize what it's not. Number one, success is not money. Money may come as a result of success because money is nothing more than a tool. That's all it is. The fact that I have money does not really signify that I'm a success. If you think that success is an account balance or a tax bracket, I want you to consider this. Let me see here. I'm going to read a couple of things to you, okay? Just hang tight with me for just a second. Money can buy you a palace of great beauty, filled with the finest treasures that the world can offer, but it cannot buy you a home filled with love and respect from the people who live there. Money can buy the finest medical care known to mankind in your hour of sickness, but it cannot buy you the God-given gift of divine health. Money can buy you a bed made of solid gold, but it can't give you 1 minute of rest or inner peace. Now listen to this. King Solomon, the richest king in history, whose horse stable had gold-plated hinges on every door, said this. He said, I want you to listen to this. He said, whosoever loves money never has enough. Are you kidding me? If only I had just this much more. I know I've got this, but if I just had this much more. Now, you might not think that's true in your life, but quite frankly, you're probably thinking that about your situation right now. You're paying your bills, you're taking care of needs, you're healthy, you have this, and you're thinking, if I just had some more money, then I could. And when does it stop? And that's what Solomon said. This is in Ecclesiastes 5:10. He said, whoever loves money never has enough money. And whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with his income. Let me just tell you this real quickly. I'm going to give you a couple of stats. I know I'm reading maybe a little more tonight than I normally do, but I want you to listen to this. In 1923, a group of the world's most successful financiers, they met at Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. These were really wealthy people, okay? Collectively, these men controlled more wealth than was in the United States Treasury at that time. Year after year, newspapers and magazines had been printing their success stories, urging the youth of the nation to follow their examples. 27 years later now, let's look at what happened to them, okay? You ready? First one, let me go through. I'm going to tell you all of these men that were pulled in. James Livermore, okay? He was the greatest bear on Wall Street. Amazing. He committed suicide. Leon Fraser, he was the president of the Bank of the International Settlement. He also committed suicide. Ivar Fruger, he was the head of the world's greatest monopoly. He committed suicide. Charles Schwab, he was the president of the largest independent steel company, lived on borrowed money the last 5 years of his life and died penniless. Now, come on, we got to think about that just for a moment. Arthur Cutten, he was the greatest wheat speculator. The greatest wheat speculator. He died abroad penniless. Richard Whitney, he was the president of the New York Stock Exchange. He was released from Sing Sing prison. He went to prison. Albert Fall, he was a member of the president's cabinet. He was pardoned from prison so that he could go die at home. He was dying in prison. So, I mean, you can just go through all of these men that learned to make great money, great amounts of money, but not one of them ever learned how to enjoy a successful life. So money will attract crowds of people to you, but money also, they can't buy you the treasure of a good friend. They just can't. I don't care how much you can get your team that follows you around. You know, I see a lot of these stars or sports figures, and what they'll do is they'll get their entourage, and somehow it makes them feel valuable or important to have 15 people that are hanging on to them while they've got a lot of money. But when they lose the money, the entourage somehow disappears. Christina Onassa, she was one of the richest women in the world, yet she had to hire people to play tennis with her. She had to hire people to go swimming with her or to go to dinner. I mean, she had more money than she could spend in a lifetime, but she was lonely, she was sad, and she was empty. Well, I mean, how unfortunate is that? Elvis Presley, he was the king. I mean, Elvis was the king. I'm just telling you. A number of years ago, I went to Memphis and I went through his mansion. Of course, I mean, at that time, they'd never changed anything. Same carpet, same furniture. And boy, it literally was like jumping back in time because they just kept the old styles and everything else. They didn't try to update. But I'm just going to tell you, the king, I mean, he had fame and fortune beyond his wildest dreams. But every one of you know that Elvis lived a very lonely life. It was miserable, the things that Elvis went through. Money going to draw people to you like bees to honey. But I'm just going to tell you something. When the money is gone, so are they. So I want you to understand what it's not. And I think that's probably one of the greatest deceptions is money, because we literally have always had the idea if I had more money than I could be or do. And quite frankly, if you can't be a success where you are now as a person, then you're not going to be a success if somebody put $100,000 in your pocket. You might buy a bunch of chains, put around your neck. You might get a really nice car, but it ain't going to change what's in you. So you understand what I'm saying? Don't be deceived into thinking that if I could just get this or that, then I'm going to have money. And that's another point, is the fact that success is not reaching a goal. It's not. Now, listen, let me back up there, because I am a huge goal setter. I believe in setting goals. I believe in writing things down, but your success isn't just when you arrive at a goal. Setting goals is a great tool to help keep us on track. But we have to be careful not to let the goal be a destination at which we just sit down and become set. So all that is a mile marker. You're never going to reach your final destination until you get out of here. All of these things are simply road signs. They're mile markers that mark my life. Success is not a destination. Success, it is a journey. And many times I think even in the church, which is where I put most of my time, we have goals or events set before us that we can all get motivated and start working toward. And many times we'd meet and we'd even exceed that goal. But, I'm just going to tell you something. Finishing the project and then just go sit down, that's not success. That's not the end of the journey. All that is the turning of a page. But your success is in being, and your success is in continuing. I just really feel like you need to understand that. I think to most people, the success is a fantasy. They just fantasize. Someday my dreams are going to come true. Someday this is going to happen. Someday my ship's going to come in. And I'm just going to tell you right now, ships don't come in. They're brought in. That's very important for you to understand. A ship doesn't just come in, it's brought in. And you have to, through the mundane routines of your life, that's the thing that brings the ship into your life. Now, I've got another thing here that I want to read you. Success is not power. Oh, dear God. Boy, you talk about an empty shell. Is whenever you begin to think that success is power. If I can just get power. And the reason people, they think that's it, they push forward and they're reaching for more power and more power and more power. And it's like never enough because it's a mirage. I mean, it really is. I'm looking over a couple of people here I'd like to share with you. Adolf Hitler. I mean, he had absolute power in Germany. He was one of history's most brutal and bloody dictatorships. April 30th, 1945, he blew his brains out, hiding in his bunker with a small group of fellow Nazi fanatics. He ordered his body to be burned to prevent the Germans from mocking his corpse. Italians had mocked Mussolini, who was hung upside down. Hitler had absolute power, but he was not successful. That's Hitler. You guys remember back Saddam Hussein. He ruled Iraq for decades with an iron grip of terror. I mean, he truly did. He had the power of life and death over millions of people. It really was. But December the 4th, 2013, he was found by the United States Armed Forces hiding in a hole in the ground. He had great power, but he was not successful. He wasn't. See, the reason I'm saying this is because I want you to understand we've been deceived into thinking what success was. And we always thought it was something down there to where we could never stop long enough to appreciate where we are. Let me see here. Long ago, the Apostle Paul stood bound in chains before Felix, a Roman governor. Paul reasoned with Felix about righteous judgment to come. That's in Acts chapter 24. You need to look that up. And the Bible states that Felix shook so violently that he could hardly sit on the throne. He had absolute power from Rome behind him, but he shook before a prisoner in chains who successfully described that faith in Jesus Christ and the truth of what his Savior had done. Felix had power, but power is not success. 2,000 years later, we name our sons Paul and our cats Felix. Oh my God. Is that not true? This is a problem. All right, let me give you another one here. Success is not determined by your circumstances. Now, this is important. I want you to get this. Some of the world's greatest men and women have been forced to overcome very difficult circumstances. Bury a man in the snows of Valley Forge, you have George Washington. Raise a man in abject poverty, you have Abraham Lincoln. Strike a man with paralysis, you have Franklin D. Roosevelt. Burn a man in a schoolhouse fire so bad that the doctors said he will never walk again, you have Glenn Cunningham, who set the world record in 1934 for running a mile in 4 minutes and 6.7 seconds. Jeez. Deafen a genius composer, you have Beethoven. Have a man or woman born black in a society with racial discrimination, you have Booker T. Washington, Harriet Tubman, or George Washington Carver. Wow. Call a man a slow learner, retarded, and uneducatable, and you have Albert Einstein. Success is not found in your circumstances. Success is the life that you're living as you're overcoming your circumstances. Helen Keller, she was born blind and deaf, yet graduated with honors from college. What an amazing woman. Margaret Thatcher, I love that woman. She was England's first and only woman prime minister who joined with President Reagan to crush communism and bring down the Berlin Wall. She lived upstairs from her father's small grocery store. For a while, her childhood home had no running water, no indoor plumbing. How in the world can you call that success? By the measurement of the world. Because success isn't just in where you end up. It's the life you live and how you overcome circumstances. I love this. Michael Jordan, who is without a doubt the greatest basketball player, in my opinion, to ever walk the court. He was cut from the team in high school. Can you imagine that? Bill Gates, the billionaire, founded Microsoft, college dropout. Golda Meir, she was Israel's first and only woman prime minister. She was a divorced grandmother from Milwaukee. God, that is truth. I mean, are you getting a picture? Can I give you another one? Success is not having it all. Someone said, if I just had it all, then I would be successful. Anybody that tells you you have it all, they're lying to you. Number one, you can't have it all. You can be anything you want, but you can't be everything. You just can't. You can be a brain surgeon or a cattle rancher, but quite honestly, you're not going to be able to do both of them. No. Let me pull up this other one here that I can share with you. How many of you have seen the movie City Slickers? You remember that with Billy Crystal and Jack Palance? What a fun movie that was. The storyline of the movie is having a midlife crisis, and he is failing at a job for which he is very qualified. His marriage is struggling. He has no purpose, but he has two friends. They go west for 2 weekend cattle drive. At critical moment in the film, Crystal and Palance are riding side by side, and Palance asks this, "How old are you?" 39, Crystal responds nervously. Palance answered, "Yeah. You all come out here about the same age with the same problems. You spend 50 weeks a year getting a knot in your rope, and you think that 2 weeks out here is going to untie it for you. None of you get it." Palance pauses. Crystal waits for the words of wisdom from the leathery face of the legendary cowboy. Finally, Palance answers, "Do you know what the secret of success really is?" Now, see, he's asking him there. "No," responds Crystal. You remember that? "No, I don't know." "Well, what is it?" Palance pauses, and then he holds up his index finger and says, "It's this." Think about it. And Crystal inquires, "Your finger?" The crusty cowboy responds, "One thing, just one thing. You stick to that, and everything else doesn't mean nothing." "That's great. But what is the one thing?" Palance responds. "That's what you are here to figure out." That was a great life lesson for so many people. is the fact that they think success is having this and this and this and this and that, and that simply isn't it at all. Success is knowing what God's assigned you to do and doing that with all of your heart, your spirit, your soul, and your body. Success isn't having money, reaching a goal. It's not power. It's just not. Success is determining, let me say it this way. Success is not determined by your circumstances. Success is not having it all. Never has been, never will be. Okay, can I give you, let me see. Wow. There's just so many things that you can find out. And the reason I'm having to spend so much time on what success is not is because we've been duped into thinking that success is all this. I love this. Success is not just maintaining status quo. Status quo is stagnation. We must strive to be as good as we can every day, every hour, every minute. If you aren't progressively improving, well, you're probably stagnating, which is death by another name. Let me see here. Any department that is satisfied with being good as they were last year, that doesn't need to be here. I'm just telling you. The measure of success is not whether you face difficulty or tough problems, but whether it's the same problem that you were facing last year. Don't complain about what you permit. I love that. I love that. Oliver Wendell Holmes, he stated, to reach the port of success, you must set sail, sometimes with a wind, sometimes against it. But we must sail, not drift or die at anchor. That's good. That's good. Yeah. Wow, here's one for you. I think you'll like this. Success isn't the absence of criticism. Dear God. Yeah. How do you respond to criticism? Do you crumble up on the floor, fall apart, cry for days, get mad, lash out? There's only 3 ways that I have found to avoid criticism. Do nothing, be nothing, say nothing. And then somebody will criticize you for that. I'm just telling you. The sign of success is not avoiding criticism, because that's impossible. If you do anything at all, somebody's going to criticize you. We live in this silly, woke community across our nation to where they're allowing a bunch of people who do nothing that just sits around and criticize, and through criticism shapes the opinions of other people because they scare the daylights out of them. We're going to tell people we don't like you. And, those people are worthless. I'm just telling you, listen to me, that whole woke group, you can't get more worthless than that group. They do nothing. They do nothing but criticize, critique, condemn, and that's all they do. They don't bring any talent to the table. They don't bring any wisdom to the table. All they do is bring threats and skepticism, and they try to loft themselves on this up on this tower that they look down on the little people and criticize what they do. They criticize what other people do, but they do nothing themselves. And you'll never escape that. These are worthless people, and they should be totally ignored. Don't even give them the satisfaction of acknowledgement. They're worthless. Now, that's just my opinion, but it's always going to be there. And people are worthless people. Do-nothing people spend their time criticizing other people that do things. But I want you to know that the sign of success is not avoiding criticism. You're not going to get things together where you say, man, I've accomplished all of this and everybody agrees. You're just not going to do it because that's impossible. But learning how to receive criticism without fear and defense and replacing that with love, forgiveness, and a sense of humor, well, that's something totally different. The trouble with most of us is that we would rather be ruined by praise, than saved by criticism. My dad always talked to me about when I first started ministry. He said, son, I want you to always be open to constructive criticism, not destructive. Now, I'm not talking about that woke mentality. Those are worthless people. But constructive criticism is when you allow people in your circle to look at your stuff and give you honest feedback. Is this out of date? Am I doing this wrong? I remembered in golf, that was one of the biggest things. Sometimes you have problems. Your swing is causing something to go. Can I just tell you, the ball doesn't care. The ball is absolutely neutral. The ball only goes where you hit it. If you hit a slice, that's because of the way your swing was. If you hit a hook, that's because of the way your swing was. If you dub the ball or hit it fat or hit it thin, those of you golfers know what I'm talking about, that's only because of the way you did your swing. And sometimes, I'm just telling you something, you can't see what you're doing. You think you know what you're doing. You would swear, I'm not doing that. But like golf, as in life, sometimes you need someone to look at your swing and to give you constructive criticism, not destructive criticism. Destructive is I don't like you, nothing you can do about it. I don't need those people in my life. But I need someone that can look at me and say, this would be better if you did it this way. That's constructive. Many companies spend tens of thousands of dollars for someone to come in and help them in those areas. Now, that's constructive criticism. The destructive, the woke group, they manipulate their way through threats and intimidation, and that's something that is very evil. And I think you have to be very careful not to let that down in your life. Okay. Let me see. Okay, let me think. I think that's probably all I probably want to give you today. I could get into the fact of what success is, but I've spent so much time trying to tear down some of the things that we thought it was not. But I will say success is finding your purpose and fulfilling that. You're called to something. You're called to something. Now you might say, how do I get there? How do I go to the place of being success? Very simple. I'm going to tell you this, how you do it. How do I move from one spot to the other? See, a lot of times people have gone in, let's say, for instance, church. If I can use church as an example, I could do the same with your job, or whether it be some political career or some government thing or whatever the case is. A lot of times people come in and they say, I don't know how to hook up. I don't know how to be a part of the system. Okay? I don't know how to do that. And a church needs to provide on-ramps for people to come in and be a part of it. But what you do is, there's a scripture I want to give you that says, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. And that's what the Bible says, whatever your hands find to do. So that means whatever is within your grasp, whatever is within your reach, whatever I can touch. Now, see, I can't touch everything, but I can touch this. If I was going into a place, I would say, what could I do? I can clean, I can help, I can serve. These are things that I can immediately hook up with. You put your hand on whatever that doorknob is. Every door leads you someplace. So if you will do whatever your hands find to do, if you can put your hand on anything, that's the same as putting it on a doorknob, turning the doorknob, engaging it, and then stepping through it. Every door takes you someplace. And a lot of people, they want to get to this door, but they're not willing to go through this door here. And one leads to the other. You don't just walk in at the top. You walk in whatever door is available. I'll do anything you want me to do. That's how you hook up. When you do that, give it all your heart. Once you give it all your heart, you're successful. Once you give it everything, that's a success. Now, it may not be as pretty or as good as someone else, but that's the best you got. That's a success. That's a success. I'm doing my best. I'm walking in. I'm going to talk about what it is to have success in this area, doing what I can. And it may not be something you would do. It could be, I could be cleaning floors, but was I diligent with it? Was I right with it? Did I give it my whole heart? Was I on time? Did I do the things I was supposed to do? Did I complete the task? Boom. That is a success. That is a doorknob that I put my hands on, and that door leads me to the next door. So success again is a journey. Success is a series of doors. It's not just one door. Success is probably an endless series of doors. Now, can I say, have I been successful? Yes, I would say that I can, not necessarily because of what I accomplished, but because in the midst of all the things that's happened to me in my life, I'm thankful. I'm thankful. Would I change anything in my life? And I've had some things that normally you would say, yeah, I'd like to change that. But to be honest with you, I don't know that I would change anything right now. I don't know that I would. The reason is, had I changed anything there, that would have altered my direction, and I might not be here. A lot of the mistakes that I've made in the past, had I not made those mistakes, I may not have had the children I have now. I may not have known the people that I know now. And would I give them up? No, my God, no. So even in my mistakes, even in the foolish things that I've done, I have a sense of thankfulness, not necessarily that a bad thing happened, but in the midst of it, I came through that, and here I am today with you. And that's what I call success. And I think you should pause for a few moments and give thanks for where you are, give thanks for what you're going through, and take a few moments just to simply apply yourself to be as diligent as you can, obedient as you can, to serve as much as you can, to love as much as you can. And when you've done that, you can say, my journey is a success. Now, my destination isn't over. Where's that destination going to take me? Well, when my life is over, then I can say that. But right now, my success is a journey. So I had success yesterday. I'm experiencing success today. Right now, sitting down with you. Tomorrow, I'm going to have success. So I want to encourage you to be thankful. Back up, rethink what success is. The whole reason I gave you all of this stuff is because I wanted you to rethink what success was and what it was not. Because it's in my heart for you to be successful. I love and appreciate you guys. I want to say thank you for joining with me. Thank you for taking a couple of moments. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would certainly appreciate that. You can go to my YouTube channel. I've got a lot of resources on the YouTube channel that I think will help you. Go to Amazon books and pull up my name, and I've got a number of books and other resources there that you can go to. And so please take time just to hook up with me. Let me know how you're doing, and I appreciate that. I look forward to connecting. Thank you for joining me. I say this with all my heart. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for being my friend. It's something that I treasure and I value, and I feel like an incredible success because I have a friendship like yours. Thank you. All right. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next time. God bless you.